All right, today we're jumping into a really fascinating contradiction that's happening right at the heart of Indian agriculture. It's a story about absolutely incredible potential and a pretty shocking reality. And it all revolves around the promise of artificial intelligence. So let's get into it.
Okay, to really get a grip on the scale of what we're talking about, you have to start with this number, 150 million.
Yep, that's how many farmers there are in India. I mean, they're the absolute backbone of the entire economy. It's a truly staggering workforce.
So you'd think, right, that the market for cutting-edge AI technology designed to help them would be massive. But what is the actual size of that market?
Well, get ready for this, because the answer is pretty shocking. It's less than 50 cents.
Yeah, per farmer. Just let that sink in for a second. The whole market for AI in Indian agriculture is about $70 million. And look, that sounds like a lot of money, right? But then you divide it by 150 million farmers, and suddenly it's a drop in the ocean. That's the paradox. So what on earth is really going on here?
To really wrap our heads around this disconnect, we've got to look at the promise first. Like, what can AI even do in farming? Because honestly, the potential is just staggering.
Right, so AI isn't just one thing. It's not some magic wand. It's really a whole toolkit. And for farming, the promise really boils down to four key pieces of tech: predictive analytics, computer vision, stuff like drones and automation, and conversational AI.
And what these tools can do is, well, it's incredible. You've got predictive analytics, like Microsoft's Sowing app, which can crunch 30 years of weather data to tell a farmer the single best day to plant their seeds. Then, there's computer vision. With an app like Plant Village, a farmer can just snap a picture of a leaf and boom, instant disease diagnosis. Drones, they allow for precision spraying, so you're only hitting the sick plants, not wasting chemicals on the whole field. And conversational AI, like the Kisan eMitra chatbot, gives advice 24/7 in local languages. I mean, this is seriously game-changing stuff.
And look, this isn't just some sci-fi fantasy. When these tools are actually put to the test, the results we see from real-world pilot projects are just stunning.
Take the Sagu Bagu project in Telangana. Farmers who use these AI-powered tips saw their crop yields jump by an average of 21%. That is a huge deal.
And it's not just about getting more crops. In Karnataka, a cooperative using an AI system managed to cut their water use by an incredible 35%. That's a massive win for sustainability and for their wallets.
But this is the real kicker. Back in that same Telangana project, when you put it all together, higher yields, lower costs on things like pesticides, the farmers involved basically saw their incomes double. That just shows you the insane return on investment AI can bring.
Okay, so that's the dream, right? Which of course brings us crashing back down to earth, the reality. We have to talk about the very real barriers on the ground that are stopping this revolution in its tracks. And this really gets us to the heart of the matter. If this technology is so powerful and so effective, why is the market still less than 50 cents per farmer? Why isn't it just everywhere?
Well, the first roadblock is the one you probably already guessed: affordability. I mean, a high-end drone system for this kind of work can cost over $30,000. At the same time, the average small farmer might only be making about $120 a month. The math it doesn't add up. Not even close.
But here's the thing. Even if the tech was totally free, there's another huge hurdle. Only about 23% of adults in rural India have what you'd call basic digital literacy. A brilliant app on a smartphone is completely useless if the person holding it doesn't know how to use it.
And none of these problems live in a vacuum. They all feed into each other, creating this vicious cycle of exclusion. You have low income, so you can't invest in tech. The rural internet is patchy. We're talking less than 4% fiber optic access, so you can't even use the apps. Low literacy and language barriers slam the door shut. And on top of all that, most farms are small and fragmented, which makes big automated machines totally inefficient. It's a trap.
So how in the world do you break out of a cycle like that? Well, this is where we get to the solution. And it all comes down to one really important idea. One size does not fit all.
You see, a key policy report from India's Niti Aayog basically reframes the whole problem. It says we've been asking the wrong question all along. The question isn't, is AI good or bad? The real question is, which AI for which farmer?
And what that report does is brilliant. It breaks down India's 150 million farmers into three distinct groups.
First, you have aspiring farmers. That's the huge majority, like 70 to 80%. Their biggest needs aren't fancy tech. It's basic stuff like getting a loan or finding a market. Then you have transitioning farmers who are ready for mechanization. And finally, you have this tiny slice, maybe 1 to 2%, of advanced farmers. These are the guys who can actually use the high-end frontier tech. You see the problem? The paradox exists because we've been trying to sell the 1% solution to the other 99%.
So if that's the right way to think about it, what does a successful project actually look like in the real world? This brings us to the real blueprint for what works.
Remember that Sagu Bagu project in Telangana where incomes doubled? Its success wasn't just about a fancy AI app. It was a 4-part formula. Yes, it had AI-powered advice, but crucially, it also connected farmers to high-quality seeds and fertilizers, guaranteed them a place to sell their crops, and had the backing of the government and foundations. It was a complete ecosystem, not just a technology drop.
And that really gets to the heart of it all. True innovation, the kind that actually changes lives, isn't about chasing the most complex technology. It's about finding and delivering the most appropriate technology for the person you're trying to help.
Which leaves us with this final thought. In the end, success in this field won't be measured by how sophisticated an algorithm is, but by how many farmers actually adopt and benefit from it. The real question we need to ask is, how do we design our systems to ensure that innovation truly serves everyone, not just the privileged few?